So, there have been some very popular stocks hitting 52-week lows. Some of these are controversial, and some of these you might not even known that they were at 52-week lows given how much hype that they received around them at various times. So, although this list doesn't always look the same, there are definitely some massive lessons that we're going to discuss here with these particular stocks, and of course talk about, is there opportunity or not with every single one of these? Will I touch them or not? Why or why not? And everything else. Now, last time that this video came out, actually, last time I did it, you had names on there like Google, for example, Microsoft, and a couple others that have run up really nice. I understand Google hasn't had a massive run, but it's definitely up from those lows pretty significantly in a great company like Google. So let's see if we got those type opportunities or if they're not really optimal at all and they're stocks you want to run away from. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype, because that's exactly what you're going to get today, guys. And that's actually a great theme going into this particular list right here, at least the way it looked this time, because there was a lot of hype around a lot of these stocks. Also keep in mind that just because they're at 52-week lows, and even a great company doesn't make the stock quote unquote cheap or anything else like that. I couldn't care less about 52-week lows. It just doesn't matter to me because there's plenty of stocks that hit 52-week lows and they're still significantly overvalued. Or maybe they have significant business problems and there's a reason, a good reason why they're at 52-week lows. Now, you're right. Sometimes they're at 52-week lows because Wall Street's just simply being dumb. So for me, although this may be an initial look of sorts at these particular things, man, just simply going, well, the stock's at 52-week lows, I got to buy it. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing in the end. It could still be significantly overvalued, still be at 52-week lows, and still have a lot further to drop, as I think we've all learned over the past few years where we've seen that happen to significant stocks in the stock market. Hey, that new 52-week low, was just a fresh of many, many new 52-week lows to come. Now, again, I'm not trying to create controversy or anything else, although the last couple of stocks might very well be a little bit controversial here. Might get a few of you guys fired up in the comments, but hey, that's okay. That's what we're here for. Nonetheless, let's jump into the list. So stock number one is JetBlue. All right, I actually don't mind flying JetBlue relative to a lot of the other airlines, especially here in the US. They're just not exactly the best all the way around. However, I don't like owning the airlines. They're just, for me, it's a business that is hard to make money, hard to be profitable. They get tons of assistance, and it's just a CapEx heavy business, heavily regulated. You're one scandal or plane crash away from obviously the stock being in the absolute toilet. Even if it wasn't your fault, doesn't seem to really matter at that particular point in stage. So for me, as airlines as an industry as a whole, although I understand the businesses, I understand exactly how they work and everything, it's just never been that attractive to me as compared to tech. I feel like tech can also survive during all kinds of different periods, up, down, recession, depression, crash, whatever the case is. I feel like there's a lot easier way to survive those times as opposed to something like a JetBlue or any other airline out there. So for me, just as a general rule, I just don't invest in these style stocks. Now, maybe there's an opportunity there. I'm not saying they're bad stocks to own or anything else of that nature. It's just not one that fits my portfolio, my risk tolerance, and kind of what I want to own in a stock to help me achieve my goals in the end, which of course your goals might very well be different. And therefore the airlines provide you exactly what you need. So for me, could care less if it's at 52-week low or not. I want nothing to do with this stock. So stock number two is Mullen Auto. Now, this one wasn't part of the initial 2021 hype that I remember. However, it picked up steam a few years ago, and I think last year as well, as being the smart play, turnaround play, I don't know, whatever the case is. It was more fool's gold in the end, guys. This one was easy to see from a mile away, easy to see that all that hype that was on X and YouTube and everything else was total trash, total garbage. And you just simply moved on from that company, hopefully. Hopefully you guys did not get caught up in that mess. This is a business that's going nowhere. There's no signs of it going anywhere. Even the leaders in the space who have all the best of the best are still struggling in this current environment, much less a startup, much less one that is executed as poorly as Mullen has. So for me, it's already a tough space to begin with, but then you add in the lack of execution there and you end up in a spot to where you're just going to get diluted and continue to get diluted until, I don't know, the stock goes in oblivion. I don't know what happens. I guess they're hoping somebody picks up their PowerPoints or something like that. Who knows? I have no idea, but it's one I'm definitely staying far, far away from. So stock number three is Plug. Now, I'm not going to bash this one as being part of the 2021 hype like a lot of other stocks were during this time frame. However, when I looked at Plug just as a business, especially after it fell, I just didn't like the margins. I didn't like the growth that you could potentially see on that. Of course, I kind of felt like I already have that anyways, owning Tesla. So why do I need something that's redundant in there? And more importantly, just not as good at it as Tesla was. I do think they're needed. I think we need more of that infrastructure across country, not just simply Tesla providing it across the country. But nonetheless, To me, the business is kind of a low margin business. And if I'm going to go into low margin businesses, I don't want to be first in a low margin business, if that makes sense. I would want much more of a legacy style business that's predictable, understandable, maybe pays a dividend or something of that nature. That's the type market that I would be in for, and the type stock that I would be looking for if I'm going to go low margin like that. So for me, you're kind of taking on a lot of the risk, but because the margins aren't great, you're not really going to get a lot of that reward there on the back end outside of a hype run, which you guys know I'm not about investing to try and catch hype runs. So for me, this is definitely one I'm staying far, far away from. I'm not saying it's a bad stock or a bad company, or it's not necessarily a buy. It's just not the right stock for me. For me, there's better opportunities in very similar type of situations. So stock number 4 is Workhorse. Yeah, I think you guys are catching the theme here. This is the last one in that particular EV space that we'll talk about today. Seems like they've been on the 52-week low list a lot over the past 3 years, which tells you something. These stocks have been in that spot for 3 years plus for a reason. I never understood the hype behind Workhorse. I actually like the product. I actually swung trade this one, made a lot of money on that swing trade way back during the hype run. But it just, there isn't a whole lot there. It was 100% dependent upon the USPS contract that didn't come through. And that's really all it is, kind of a niche vehicle. Maybe they are a buyout potential for somebody else who needs that style vehicle. I don't know, but we're just so early stage in this. And for me, I don't see a lot of upside. I don't see a lot of folks falling all over themselves to try and sign a contract with them or anything else of that nature. So maybe there's something there in the business that picks up. But for right now, I understand exactly why it's at a 52-week low. And I can't see anything on the horizon that tells me that, hey, this is going to be a good play moving forward there. Matter of fact, shareholders are probably in for more dilution and a lot more of those style games being played with their stock. All right, so on to the final one here. And of course, it's going to be the most controversial one here on this list. Let's see how fired up you guys get down in the comments. So number 5 is Bingo, or Bio-Nano-Genomics. All right, this was one, it may have been, if not the most hated video on my channel, it's got to be in the top 3, no doubt. The fact that I spoke out against it whenever it was all the rage and penny stocks to the moon and, you know, Luke, you don't understand investing and all that other stuff like that was all being said. I said, this is crazy. You guys are absolutely going to get roasted. You know, this stock is going nowhere, nor is this company, because at the time they were essentially selling a PowerPoint. And that's not investing, that's speculating, and that's highly speculating. And that very, very rarely ends well for investors. But more importantly, the folks that I talked to about this stock knew nothing about genomics. Nothing. How the heck do you invest? So if you know nothing about genomics, how the heck do you invest in a company that's involved in that space? If you don't understand genomics, how the heck do you understand the business model? How the heck do you understand how this stock makes money? How it has to work through the regulatory environment? All those other things of that nature all factor into just basic level knowledge of a stock, but yet nobody had it. It was just, well, Kathy Wood said genomics is the future, and she said Tesla to the moon, Tesla went to the moon, so therefore, you know, I want to own genomics companies. And it's like, okay, there's no doubt in my mind genomics will play a huge role in the future, but there's going to be thousands of genomics companies, and the vast majority of them are all going to fail. So trying to find that gem that's going to be the winner and the leader is not as easy as just, hey, Bingo's got a PowerPoint. Hey, look, the stock's moving, therefore to the moon. That was kind of the logic back then. And here we are years and years and years later, and it's just been a trash stock with absolutely nothing having there. And I know a lot of you guys learned a hard lesson, and hopefully that lesson carries forward to not buy hype, buy those solid fundamental companies, understand the businesses that you own, and don't ever listen to myself as a YouTuber or anybody else out there, Kathy Wood or Dan Ives or Gene Munster or anybody else out there pushing it. They are all pushing different agendas for different reasons. A lot of times they say things that you agree with. That doesn't necessarily mean they have your best interest in mind. I can guarantee you they are all trading their book when they go on those interviews. And that's why listening to those folks, although it may pay off sometimes, it is very, very dangerous over the long run because you have no clue what you own. And more importantly, you have no clue as to how they're making money versus you making money, which is very, very, very different. And you have to understand that difference. So no, I'm sorry. I still have no interest in Bingo, and I'm probably never going to have any interest in this stock. However, if you're interested and taking your investing to the next level and to get serious about your investing and you made it this far in the video, I may have left something special down there in the pinned comment for you where you get free coaching, you get your free courses, you get access to myself directly to work with you to help you learn how to actually invest. You can be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there with all those members all helping you as well. Tons of exclusive videos, exclusive content, stock screeners. Guys, there is so much involved in a membership. Check out the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.